Ladies and gentlemen, we now proceed to the first panel discussion, Essential Skills for the Educational Leaders of Tomorrow. Yes, I would now first like to call upon our moderator, 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 Sinha, CEO, DSR Educational Society, Hyderabad. I request you to please, step onto the stage.
Bhavani is the moderator.
Okay, Ms. Bhavani, I request you to please step forward. I would now invite the esteemed panelists onto the stage. We have with us Roger Paul K, Principal, Meridian School, Uppal, Hyderabad. A huge round of applause. We also have with us V.N. 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲, Principal, 𝗙𝗶𝗸𝗲 Central School, 𝗙𝗶𝗸𝗲, Hyderabad. I request you to please join us here on stage. And we have with us 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲, Principal, Oak Ridge International School, 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 School, 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲, Hyderabad. If you could please join us here on stage. Dr. 𝗙𝗶𝗸𝗲, Principal and Director, Academics, Sister Nivedita School, 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲, Hyderabad. Seema Naidu, Director, Erson's English School, Mumbai. 𝗙ષि𝗹𝗹𝗪, Academic Head, 𝗙rie Chaitanya Future Pathways, 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲, Hyderabad. Please join us here on stage. And Srihari, State Pedagogy Coordinator, 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲, to please step onto the stage and join us. And ladies and gentlemen, we will be discussing embracing, implementing, using technology wholeheartedly, providing pedagogical competence to the teachers, equipping teachers to create impactful content. So these will be the key points that will be highlighted and discussed today in this panel discussion. We have an eminent lineup of panelists here. So please be seated, and I would request the moderator to please take over this session.
Assemble here and share our views and opinions for today's panel discussion. It is indeed my pleasure to be a part of the discussion. Initially, I was to be a part of the panel member, but now I get an opportunity to host this and moderate the session. So I am sure we are going to add values, and by the end of the session, you would be taking back or enriching yourself with certain things much more and learning. So before that, I would like to request the co-panelists, my eminent team members, to introduce themselves to you all, because we are there meeting at many and quite often number of times on various panels and for various events. It becomes my privilege now to ask them to introduce themselves to you so that you are more acquainted with their presence here. If I may ask you to begin, ma'am.
Very good afternoon to everybody. It's indeed a privilege coupled with pleasure, because we get to interact with a lot of government school teachers who are doing a fabulous job in the remote areas of our country. This is usually a very unusual, collaboration, because we don't get to meet teachers from the government sector very, very often. So my warm welcome to all of you, dear teachers, and I really, really feel proud with the work that all of you are doing. Well, my name is 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲. I am principal at 𝗟agati Central School, Pragati Nagar, Kukatpalli, Hyderabad.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. 𝗙𝗶𝗸𝗲, Principal and Director, Sister Nivedita Group of Schools. And it is my honor to be part of this panel discussion. And I have watched video shared by Madam 𝗍𝗍. It is great to know what government schools are doing, because people underrate at times. But the great work, whatever changes are happening as per the national education policy, all the changes we could see there, and it's a great honor and privilege to be part of this group. Thank you, one and all.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is 𝗙cie and I'm an academic head of the 𝗖ecie department of Future Pathways School. It's an initiative of 𝗙ecie HS group of school. We are heading towards building learners towards a Cambridge education and curriculum, and it was, as I also resonate with what ma'am said, that it was very, I was actually pleasantly surprised to see the work that the government schools are putting in, and to meeting and networking with all of you all today. Thank you.
Good afternoon all. This is 𝗙cie, Telangana 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 Pedagogy Coordinator. I've been working as school head for the last 13 years and attended a national level conference on school leadership innovative pathways in 2019 at New Delhi. It is a very good opportunity to participate and interact with you about upskilling and reskilling the teachers and school heads for the future learners. Thank you, one and all.
A very good afternoon, everyone. I am 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲, Principal of 𝗟𝗏𝗏 International School, 𝗙𝗶𝗸𝗲. We are 5 𝗟𝗏 schools in 4 different states of India, and we are part of Broad Area Education, where we have 82 schools in 31 countries. So we do a lot of collaboration and networking across the world, and it's my pleasure to be here today to discuss about how we can make our students future ready. So thank you and welcome to all of you today.
Good afternoon. I am Seema Naidu, and this is my 10th year as a director for 𝗟𝗏𝗲 English School in Mumbai. So it's a small introduction.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Roja, the principal for Meridian School, Uppal. Yes, I think I was very happy to see the presentation and to see the amount of work the government is doing towards working towards developing the government schools. I think now it's going to be a reverse. The private schools will learn from the government schools. I think that's how it is going to be. I think so, because all that you have presented, no doubt we have been doing it, and we felt that probably the government schools are lacking, but I think I would like to say I am ignorant. Now I have learned. So wonderful work, and it is definitely my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
So let me introduce myself. I am Ms. 𝗟𝗏𝗲𝗲, Principal Meridian School, Madhapur, moderating the panel here. So having this wonderful panelists, co-panelists along with me, let us begin the understanding to enrich ourselves furthermore about upskilling and how the education sector is going to make a landmark note of itself in building the future generation now and forever. If I may begin with Ms. 𝗟𝗏𝗲𝗲, may I understand, I think we've heard a couple of times earlier also, and we've been hearing it. Now it is no longer prevalent, but yes, COVID has changed the mindset, lifestyle, and the way we perform and function in every minute detail of our life. So education sector was also affected by COVID. That was our previous members who have spoken on the stage had mentioned about the impact it left in the sector of education. So I would want to understand from you, during COVID, we all had seen and witnessed a metamorphosis in the way teaching and learning happens. How did you and your team of members really adapt, and what are the new techniques which you have adopted in order to make this future learning?
Well, yes. I'd like to begin with a small story. There was once a king who was gifted with 2 falcons. I think you are aware of these birds, very majestic birds, falcons, by his friend in Arabia. These 2 falcons were very fondly taken care of by the king. In fact, he gave these falcons to the best of, the breeders and said, these are fondly, mine, and you got to ensure that very soon they soar majestically in our kingdom. And it so happened that months passed. There was one falcon that started soaring majestically, but the other one would not move an inch. Alright? The king became very concerned. How come? So he called for the best doctors, healers, and he wanted them to understand why this falcon was not moving while the other was soaring very, very high. And it so happened that the healers and doctors could do nothing about it. He became very depressed and he said, fine, I think we need to get somebody from the environment, from that countryside, somebody who knows about, what these falcons are like and how, we could get them to soar, what actually could be the problem. So he said, call for a farmer. Then the farmer came in and he did whatever best he could and he left. The next morning, it was such a regal sight that the king could see both the falcons soaring majestically. And then the king was so pleasantly surprised, he was so excited like a kid, and he said, go and get that farmer. I want to know how he managed to do this miracle. The farmer was called for and the farmer was asked, what is it that you did that so many experts could not do? Then he said, Your Majesty, I just cut off the branch. I just cut off the branch, I didn't do much. So, I think this COVID has cut off the branch on which all the teachers nestled comfortably following traditional and conventional teaching methods. Do you agree with me, ladies and gentlemen? All of a sudden we were forced to, get into this technology-aided lessons. Initially, we were not very much ready, but by and by when we knew COVID is not going to leave us for quite a few months, we had to survive, and the survival was to learn. So I think, today, if you look at the world around, much before a toddler takes on a textbook or a notebook, he is taking on a gadget. Children are becoming so adapted to gadgets, they tend to become so immersive in learning through technology that we as educators must adapt as well. If we want to teach this generation, I think we have to upskill ourselves and ensure that we unlearn and relearn to keep pace with their learning style. We are all aware that there are many learning styles. And while some learning styles suit some, I think one learning style suits all. And that is technology-aided teaching and learning style. Do you agree, ladies and gentlemen? So I think, for us to survive today, unless we upskill ourselves, we will not be able to. And the teachers started exploring the marvels of technology. Today, it is such a wonder that we see teachers who never wanted to, look at technology as an aid in the classrooms. They're using it so seamlessly, integrating it with all their lessons, their pedagogy. And children are learning much better through this technology because that is how they find learning interesting and engaging. Well, the next most important question that we are all faced, is technology a threat? Definitely not. Will technology replace teachers? No. Technology will not replace teachers, but teachers who know technology will replace teachers who do not know technology. But before I wind up this, let me tell you, teachers and technology are inseparable, just like that of a flower and its fragrance. Thank you very much.
Very well said, 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 ma'am. Change is the only constant, as we are very well aware about it. Now, if I may ask the next panelist, Mr. 𝗖ecie garu. It's all about a lot of information we've heard about on NEP. If at all technology has got, you want to use that mic? Yeah. The impact of technology in future studies is categorically mentioned in the new educational policy. I would want you to throw some light on it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Actually, NEP 2020 is focusing on technology-based teaching and learning in our schools, entire country. So, Telangana State aligning with NEP 2020 regarding technology-based teaching and learning. So that we have implemented a few things in our state, and a few plans are there to implement in the next academic year 2024 also. I am going to give you a detailed note on all these activities of our state. So let us come to number 1, that is ICT, as recommended by NEP 2020. In our state, all the high school teachers, especially mathematics and science teachers, are undergone ICT training. That is physical science teachers and mathematics teachers in all high schools. They got trained, and now they are well acquainted with ICT skills, which enable them teaching and learning easier than past days. Second, our 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 Telangana professors and faculty designed ICT teachers textbooks in 2023 this year. The teacher textbooks are available in 𝗖cie website, that is called ICT Handbook for Teachers. Not only that, 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 Telangana designed textbooks for ICT for 5th, 6th and 7th class students also, which can be downloaded in our 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 website. It is very easy to access and easy to go through for the child as per his basic knowledge at school level. It is another initiative by our Telangana state. And fourth one is 𝗖𝗋. 𝗖𝗋 in short, in abbreviation we know that knowledge yantra, 𝗖𝗋. 𝗖𝗋 is established in all the high schools of our Telangana state. And second thing, the teachers, a few teachers are selected or identified teachers are trained on managing OM of 𝗖𝗋s. The 𝗖𝗋 is inbuilt with school student-friendly, teacher-friendly software and a few subject content also. It is widely used in our schools, especially in mathematics and science, a part of languages also. And the fifth one is tabs. So tabs are supplied to primary school teachers in our state. It is supplied in phased manner. Now in 2020 to 23 we have supplied tabs to our primary school teachers, which make teaching and learning very easy. So in next year, 2024 also, we are going to supply to all the teachers in our state, especially primary. Tablet-based digital libraries are established because tab-based digital libraries are accessible to the student, so the student can access it in the classroom itself. Definitely, I can make sure the tab-based technology can change the teacher learning process. It makes a student very comfortable in learning new subjects or new concepts at their school level. Then it is also aligned with NEP 2020, and smart schools are started in our state. So as 𝗙ecie ma'am introduced us in the beginning, that smart schools, smart classrooms and Wi-Fi schools are also established in our state with the smart boards. So as 𝗙ecie ma'am told, flat panels. So we say in corporate schools we say that interactive boards. The boards are established in our schools to make teaching very easy, especially in the MOMB and MBMB schools in Telangana state. In all the high schools, teacher resource persons are also trained, and it is in cascadement. We will go to the root level also to use these boards. Number 7, STEM labs. So science, technology, engineering and mathematics labs are being established and set up in a few schools of Telangana state with the collaboration of American Indian Foundation. We are going to plan it for the next year also in a few schools of in Telangana state, especially to encourage the children, to make the children very curious about science, technology, engineering and mathematics. So these are a few initiatives taken by Telangana state to make children and teachers aware of tech-friendly for future education needs and demands. Thank you, ma'am.
That's really phenomenal, sir. I think the government is doing quite much more, because education is not just for a segment of people. The right to education belongs to every individual who wants to learn, and it is a phenomenal way in which the government is taking steps. I think they deserve a huge round of applause for that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. If I can move ahead, the greatest and most notable change which the NEP has brought about in the field of education is redefining the system, redefining the age, and bringing all the segments of education under one stream. In such endeavor, we had seen that the pre-primary schooling has been brought under mainstream schooling. Initially, or prior to this, it was known as pre-primary or kindergarten. Now, it is treated under the same umbrella as a regular schooling. with the new year breakup. Now, Ms. Baljeet, I would want to know how far you feel that usage of technology in kindergarten is relevant, and how do you see that it adds value to your group of schools or the children who are there in kindergarten. So because we believe technology should be at adequate use at kindergarten level, how can it really make an impact on students' learning?
Thank you so much for the wonderful question. Now, talking about technology, I'm sure all of you will believe that it has percolated across all domains of education. Now, more precisely talking about kindergarten. When we talk about kindergarten, the three important aspects that we see of how we are integrating in our early years is first to see how it is relevant, how we can make the usage of the education more relevant to our kindergarten students. How do we implement, and again, the third important component is how do we measure the impact of the usage of technology in kindergarten as well as across K to 12, right? Across all grade levels, how we do integrate that. Now, talking about relevance, there are three important aspects that we see before introducing any technology to the little ones or to our middle school students. Now, first important aspects that we look into is how we can make learning more real and authentic for our students. Definitely when we show a 2D shape, it may not give a complete visibility to the child, but the usage of technology, we can see a lot of models, a lot of other aspects which make learning more authentic and real to our students. The second important aspects that we look into is how we are connecting and making our students connect to students across the country or across the globe, and giving them those skills and competencies so that they can really perform well in that particular domain. Now, the skills and competencies right from the kindergarten, it's very important that our children are very curious, they are committed, they are compassionate, and they are critical and creative thinkers. So what are we going to do about to make sure that we build up those skills and competencies? I think usage of technology through different softwares and activities make us integrate those things in our teaching and learning processes. The way we implement such things in our curriculum across from kindergarten to K to 12 is by selecting the technology which is more, I can say that, integral to the teaching and learning processes of our school. I think as educators, we need to see that there are multiple tools that have come up in today's context. Now, how can we select it, or what can be introduced to our students, and so much at a very early level, right? At a very early stage. So we do a lot of self-evaluation and we work on our school improvement plan, and then we work accordingly on what technological tools really fit in our context. For example, if we want to improve the language and literacy skills, then we make sure that we introduce softwares and educational tools which are more relevant on those contexts. And most importantly, I have seen a lot of improvement in child's learning when we use these tools to encourage, to promote personalized learning. Now, we all as educators understand that every child is unique. Every child has a unique set of talents and attributes, right? So we all need to looking into technology of how we can strengthen personalized learning among our students, and that is what we are very mindful while we introduce any certain tools to our students across all grade levels. And as I said to you earlier, that we are part of non-IELTS education, where we collaborate with 82 schools in 31 countries. So we have platforms like Global Campus, where with the collaboration with UNICEF and MIT, we do a lot of activities and we do a lot of storytelling and a lot of STEM activities with students across the grade levels, and that really supports. At the same end, also with regard to teachers, it's important if you want to implement technology in early years, we also need to train our teachers right from that particular stage. So there's a lot of collaboration, and technology really supports us in all our endeavors to take things forward. So having said all about how we can integrate technology, it's very important for us to reflect and ensure that we instill the right values right from the kindergarten, of making sure that our children are academically honest, they know the ethics and values of how to use technology in the best possible way, and support people who don't have the advantage of, of making use of the technology in big ways. So it's very important to make sure that we strike the balance of experiential learning and usage of technology right from kindergarten to K-12.
You're absolutely right. At that level of kindergarten, children definitely need experiential learning, and then it is very important as schools and as leaders, we strike a balance, even balance, to give the best of all this learning to the child. Now, as leaders or educational institutions, we all believe that child is the nucleus for learning. So, anything and everything the school does is only to ensure that the best is given for the child to have the best learning outcomes. Amidst all this, we all must be willingly accepting that today's generation kids are smarter, the smartest. Today's child would be smarter than the child who was born yesterday. So, Lalita ma'am, if I may ask you, how do you feel that the educators should be having pedagogical competence-based learning and teaching in order to keep abreast with the technology, with the new age child, so that learning and teaching becomes a happy journey together? What do you feel are the important elements a teacher should keep knowing before entering to teach new generation kids?
Thank you, ma'am, for that wonderful question. And I would like to break this question into three parts. First one is 21st century kids. So the 21st century kids are smart, confident and independent, and they are also ambitious, and they desire to work independently, and they have solutions for all the complex problems. So to handle such kind of children, what are the pedagogical competencies required for the teachers? So now, what is pedagogy? So pedagogy is nothing but the theory or practice or method which teacher uses to achieve better learning outcomes. So NEP talks about various pedagogies to handle this 21st century kids, and that is the reason why there are 7 to 8 pedagogies: competency-based pedagogy and experiential learning pedagogy, storytelling pedagogy and ICT pedagogy, and art integration, sport integration, etc. And why are we discussing with all these pedagogies means because the attention span of 21st century kids is very, very less. To engage these kids, and we need to adopt these new pedagogies. And then once we know the pedagogy, what are the competencies required for the teachers? Competencies or skills. So the 21st century, to handle 21st century kids, the teacher has to be equipped with 21st century skills. So the 21st century skills are nothing but creativity, because unless the teacher is creative, we cannot help the child to learn creativity. And then critical thinking, thinking out of the box, and this is also very much essential for teachers. And collaboration, working with others. The world is now going beyond, and in isolation we cannot achieve anything. To achieve better learning outcomes, our children are to be taught how to work with the teams. And then communication. So we know all these, but if the child doesn't have the proper communication to express the ideas, it becomes very, very difficult. So all the teachers should have these learning skills. In out of 21st century skills, these 4 C's are called as the learning skills. So we need to equip ourselves with these 4 C's. And then the next one comes literary skills. Literary skills are also very important for our children. And to handle these children, and teachers have to be equipped with these literary skills, which are known as information literacy. And the child should be in a position to identify what is fact and what is fiction. And they should be in a position to analyze the data and decode the statistical analysis. So information literacy is very, very important for teachers. And the next one is media literacy. We know media, various outlets are there in media, and child should be wise enough to choose which is right for them and which is not right for them. And the last one, 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 ma'am spoke a lot about it, and ICT technology, ICT literacy. So technology literacy is also very, very important for teachers. So to handle 21st century kids, teachers first equip with all these kinds of competencies or the skills. And the last one is life skills, which are very much important for kids to do well in this competitive world. So under life skills, we talk about leadership qualities and we talk about flexibility. Flexibility means change. Change is inevitable. They should be adaptable for change. And then initiation. They should be proactive to take care of the things. And productivity. How to get better results, better learning outcomes. And then social awareness or self-awareness. So these are the life skills. So every teacher must be equipped with learning skills, which are known as 4 C's, literary skills, which are called as IMT skills, and life skills, which are abbreviated as FLIPS. We call them as FLIPS. So these skills and these competencies are very important for teachers to handle 21st century kids who are known as Generation Z and Generation Alpha. In addition to this, as per National Education Policy, civic literacy is very important and environmental literacy is very important, financial literacy is very important, and digital literacy is very important. So, with National Education Policy coming up, lots of terminology changes. First, we need to adapt to help our 21st century kids. So that is what I feel about this to handle 21st century
very
generation. Thank you so
Rightly
much.
said. Very, very rightly said. I think if I may ask Ms. Seema Naidu. Now Ms. 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 has begun the panel discussion with a beautiful story, a narrative about a falcon, where everyone was nestled very beautifully in their teaching hub. But then, now we have just heard Dr. Lalita ma'am explain about the change which is inevitable and required for every teaching community. Now that you are handling the 21st century kid, you know that a teacher needs to change and adapt to this change very easily, no matter how long or how old or how young the teacher is. Now, if a teacher believes that she has got so many years of an experience and she need not have to change or metamorphosize himself or herself to teach the next gen kid, it would be a misfit into this system completely. So tell me one strategy, Ms. Seema, you have adapted so that your teachers are well equipped to teach the next generation kids.
Thank you. Mrs. Lalita ma'am shared so many things about the critical thinking, all 4 C's. So I supposed to be talk on that, but she covered everything. So what I will do, now I will give some examples on that. But हिंदी में एक कहावत है, परिवर्तन सृष्टि का नियम है. अगर आप परिवर्तन के साथ नहीं चलोगे तो पीछे रह जाओगे. तो ये जब तक आप नहीं करोगे, और ये टीचर्स हो जाते हैं रिजिड थोड़े से. हम अगर 10 साल एक ही स्कूल में रह गए या कंटिन्यूशन उसी प्रोफेशन में रह गए, सो टीचर्स का रहता है, अरे ये तो चलता है, यही तो पढ़ाना है, यही तो करना है, बच्चों को नॉलेज देना है. यस, देना है. लेकिन हम जब स्टूडेंट्स थे, वही पैटर्न अगर हम आज के 21st सेंचुरी में अडॉप्ट करेंगे तो ये नहीं चलेगा. टीचर हैज़ टू चेंज. टीचर्स always try to take a training sessions because I work for the CBSE schools, and the CBSE says that every year 50 hours training sessions should be there. That school is supposed to be arranged. 25 hours in the internal and 25 by CBSE sessions what they take, and they supposed to be attend this all. And this COVID period, they taught us where we are, but हम लोग ने हार नहीं मानी है. एक 40 मिनट्स का पीरियड हम लोग लेने के लिए हम लोगों ने 1 घंटे का तैयारी करते थे, तब जाके 40 मिनट्स का पीरियड सक्सेसफुली वी यूज टू टेक. और उसमें भी हम लोग ने एवरीडे बहुत सारी चेंजेस किए. बच्चे ऐसे ही बैठ जाते थे, ऐसे ही आ जाते थे, एंड वी लर्न फ्रॉम देयर ओनली दैट वी यूज टू आस्क द पेरेंट्स मीटिंग्स एंड सेज दैट कि आप बच्चों को यूनिफॉर्म में बैठाइए तो एनवायरनमेंट आएगा. सो दिस इज अ चेंज, टीचर खुद से सीखी है ये बात, किसी ट्रेनिंग सेशन में नहीं। सो यहाँ मैं एक छोटा सा और चेंज करके बोलना चाहूँगी कि हम लोग हमारे टाइम में जो टीचर्स थे, शी यूज्ड टू से दैट मैंने बोर्ड पे लिख दिया है, उसको उतार लो और उतना ही लिखना है, डोंट आस्क एनी क्वेश्चंस। बट वी टीचर्स supposed to give the time open-ended questions. Like now, I want to play this game with you all. So, I take only 2 to 3 minutes. It is your beauty how fast you give the answer. If there were no Himalaya, so what will happen? Yeah. You are a science teacher, I think. See, the answer will come, science teacher will answer like this. What about the language teacher?
I'm a language teacher.
Okay. So you are integrated. Good. So, answers नहीं आ रहे हैं. Lunch का time अभी बहुत बाकी है. So answer कैसे? हाँ? Yes. Also. And exactly, because I am a Hindi teacher, so I can say like this. Very good.
Better access to us.
Better access to us. हिमालय की गोद में मूवी नहीं बनती, है ना? हिमालय के ऊपर में अच्छी कविताएं नहीं लिखी जाती। दूसरी बात, हमारे यहाँ एक ही सीजन होता, और एक ही सीजन होता तो क्या होता? हर्ब्स, श्रब्स ये मिलते, ग्रेन्स मिलते। सो लाइक दिस, अभी देखिए अगर मैं और थोड़ा फोर्स करूँ तो और आंसर्स आ जाएंगे। सो दिस इज आई वांट टू ट्राई टू से टीचर्स नाउ स्टार्ट ओपन एंडेड क्वेश्चंस, दिस इज आल्सो बी रिक्वायर्ड, क्योंकि आपको बच्चों को मौका देना है। सी अलाउ मी टू हिंदी स्पीक बिकॉज आई एम अ हिंदी टीचर, दैट्स व्हाई। सो बच्चों को जब आप मौका नहीं दोगे तो वो खुद से पढ़ेंगे कब? अगर आप ही ने बता दिया, आप ही ने सब कर लिया, तो बच्चे कब करेंगे? कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स में वो कैसे पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे? कोचिंग क्लास में सिर्फ जाके नहीं होता है, बच्चों को खुद से भी पढ़ने के लिए टाइम देना है। सो ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लेते हुए, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Very well said, ma'am. Yes, we know we all need smart teachers for smart learners. When we are speaking about smart learning, we are now redefining hard work with smart work. Not diligently excluding things, but diligently including all types of learnings to have an impactful learning outcome. If I may ask Ms. Khushbu, how the smart learner and the smart teacher are going to be compatible to make meaningful learning experiences?
Thank you, ma'am, for the question. The blessing or the curse of being towards the last speaker on the panel is that everything is covered and almost...
You're the penultimate, you have one more.
So almost second last speaker is that everything is covered and some very insightful learnings have been shared by all the panelists over here. Just, I would want to make it very quick. Whatever I'm going to share today on the smart education would be through the lens of Cambridge curriculum and IB curriculum, because that's where my background lies. Coming back to the question now, that how do we equip our teachers to deal with the smart education that we are at the threshold of? So, as I was researching on the topic of, I want to talk about smart education, but where do we begin? Because what is the line, like where does it start or where does it stop, right? As I was researching, I found UNESCO's educational policy from 2022, and they had tried to define smart education, but it says that currently there is no shared understanding of what actually a smart education is. And it's a very fluid and dynamic concept, which also refers to different spatio-temporal institutions and national contexts. So now, which means that it is very open to interpretation, it is open to what an individual or what a school curricula would want to interpret as. Now, coming to the question from the Cambridge lens. So, how do we equip our teachers in order to ensure that they are relevant very first thing, as someone has already covered, that we need to be very adaptive. Our teachers need to have the tools. So when in the morning session, sir asked how many of us have used ChatGPT, only 10 people had raised their hands, right? I, as an head, we recently had this training session wherein we opened ChatGPT in front of our teachers and we showed them how to use it. And can you guess the time it takes for the ChatGPT to make a lesson plan? Can anybody take a wild guess? Sorry? A few seconds, right? Where we toil, our teachers toil for hours at end to create a lesson plan which is very relevant for our learners. The ChatGPT has done it in like a couple of seconds, and that too with a lot of creative strategies and pedagogies included. It also, if you type a few more keywords like, okay, how do I do it? Differentiated learning, how do I ensure that, so in Cambridge or in IB we have learner profiles or learner attributes. So how do we ensure that I also amalgamate all of those concepts into it? It will again, within minutes or within seconds, it will show you how you can tailor-made or custom-made your lesson plan. So now the onus is on the teacher, since your creation time or the time that it takes for you to research on the pedagogies or research on the strategies that you want to implement in the class would be much less. We would also have facial recognition in terms of attendance. A lot of things would come into play, right, in our international setup of or the way our schools are running. How do our teachers learn this? First of all, by providing them the right tools. So when we took the session of ChatGPT, first we need to take a session of, okay, is there a smart board in our classroom? Is there an ICT teacher? Is there a robotic STEM or a coding, a lab? All of these things are available or not? Are they in a working condition? Are the teacher able to access all of this and utilize all of these things? And if they are utilizing, how much are they utilizing? So if we equip our teachers in order to teach them, okay, these are the tools, and then as heads or as principals, or all the stakeholders of the management, how do we monitor? So it is also a very big blessing for us to see that, okay, how the teachers are using it, and our monitoring process, our quality assurance also becomes very easy through the use of smart education.
That's absolutely right, ma'am. In order to have a smart learner, you need to be creating that kind of an ambience or environment, and I'm sure the schools are going to equip themselves for having the latest technology. Obviously, your teaching community would be adaptive to that as well. Now, moving on to my colleague Ms. 𝗟𝗶𝗲. If I may understand, we've heard about so many 21st century skills, financial literacy, and many competencies. How do you feel that your teachers are integrating it to make the learning and teaching process more coherent, more collaborative, and more enjoyable?
Thank you, Bhavani ma'am. Financial literacy. How do I teach financial literacy to a PP child, pre-primary child, when a child does not know what is a currency note? Okay, well, is it impossible? Not at all. It is possible. And the good news is we've been doing it. However, the NEP has named it as a special skill today. Okay, when a mother takes a child to the supermarket and shows them the different items that are there and which one to choose, it is a way of financial literacy. Well, I'm very happy to share with you all at our school. We've already integrated it, and we've started in phases wherein we have all of these 21st century skills that are integrated, and we have actually partnered with a curriculum partner who has helped us, who has worked with NCF, personnel at NCF, so which has helped us, develop a curriculum for the financial literacy. There are all of the skills possible that we can integrate it. We've also not stopped ourselves. In fact, our management has taken an environmental initiative. I'm not sure, I'm not aware, I'm ignorant, I would say. But our school is one of the schools where the notebooks are also completely from the environment-friendly material, that is, they are recycled completely. Until grade 2, all the books are. So it is just not the students and teachers, even the management has partnered with us to extend this initiative to have the 21st century skills, as a part of it. But I would like to just wind up saying, because I know that we are running short of time, but end of the day, Mulla ki daud masjid tak. So if our board pattern doesn't change, then I'm still learning trigonometry or whatever other concept till the very end. So vocational skills are introduced right now in middle school, which prepares us for life. But if it is not done in a manner that it will bring out some fruits or a good rich yield, wherein employability skills, I've read up an article which says Indians are very, very intelligent, but their employability skills, very poor. But I think it is one of the richest pool for talent, but we are not able to negotiate or sell ourselves. One is 21st century skills, of course, employability skills are a part of it. So I think with the new NEP, I think we have an answer. But I'm waiting to see how it is integrated and implemented into our schools. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Ma'am, that is the reason why NEP also introduced entrepreneurship skills, so which have to be introduced for our school children. So maybe when we do it, we might.
I think he needs to learn.
సభాయ నమః. నా పేరు డాక్టర్ డి.వి. శర్మ. I'm a retired professor from 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 College. Currently I am at the University of British Columbia, Vancouver. I teach basic biology there, and I am an oncologist, immuno-oncologist myself. 𝗖cie_HIH was my student 28 years ago. He came to me after 28 years. Now what I am asking about is, we are talking so much about education. None of us have talked about the Guru Parampara. The lineage of Gurus. I can right now present a 4th generation of Gurus. Professor Zamir, he was my student in 1998 at the back end of my retirement. He was an intermediate student. His father was a driver. He came to me asking for admission. I was vice principal at 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 College. Then I gave him admission. Then I told him, I will pay your fees. We were talking so much about the children, okay? And somebody was mentioning about the individuality, uniqueness of the children. Yeah, genetically also, everybody is unique by their own genome. Your genome is your own genome. You are born with your own genome. For every teacher, it is important to identify the unique characteristics of the child based on their genetic behavior. Many a time, we always try to rate a student on the scores on the papers. That is rubbish. That is rubbish. Jamil, when I told him, he said, no sir, there is a school called Dwarka School here, and that Dwarka School is run by Savita Rao, and she has given me a job, but you give me attendance. So this spark is something that as a teacher we have to. So what I feel is, basically all the teachers need orientation in order to identify the spark in the children.
Very well said, sir. We do agree. As sir has mentioned about the Guru Parampara, we've already discussed just before your arrival, but it is there aesthetically and very much in the Indian education system, or in fact in our own country, where we strongly believe that.
Ma'am, you can take another one. It's okay, sir.
where we strongly believe that we've given that highest echelon and position to a guru. Hence we say Mata, Pita, Guru and then Daivam. So we believe that Guru is the only person who can enlighten and show the path of enlightenment to everyone. We are talking about how a Guru has to upskill themselves, as you rightly said, sir. We even go with how a garden has multiple intelligence. Hence, we need to identify the child with their capacities and identify their skill set based on which we try to train them. Hence, upskilling of teachers is very, very important. Thank you, sir. I sincerely thank my co-panelists and all the members who have thrown light towards upskilling of this teaching community. Thank you very much.
Can you please give me half minute? Okay. So for your sir. Namaskaram, sir. So in our school we maintain event register to identify the innate abilities of children. So when child participate in elocution competition, drawing, painting, dance, social service, leadership qualities, we write the names of children. And when teacher identifies his innate abilities of a child, then the remaining teacher discuss about the child's ability. Then we all together try to make it enhance. Thank you, sir.
You know, my brother was a part of your SCR, Dr. Suryanand, Donipuri Suryanand, he was with you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Well, thanks to everybody for a patient listening. Well, the final thing in a nutshell is we are all dealing with children. So what I feel is, if a child would want to learn the way he wants to learn, I think technology is definitely the answer. So if a child cannot learn the way we are teaching them, perhaps we have to upskill and learn the way they want us to teach them. Thank you very much.
You, madam, evolution is a part of life. That is what Darwin said. You have to evolve, you have to co-evolve with the changing situation. You cannot be a redundant going back to the Veda period.
Yes,
But yet, ashrama dharmas are always there, but still in ashrama can be a technically oriented ashrama with the computers and with all skill sets.
Yes, the one-liner is, we have to continue to adapt and stay adept.
Otherwise, we cannot survive.
Yes, very rightly said. And what a wonderful note, my dear friends, to conclude this wonderful panel discussion where we make sure that the primitive methods are also put in use. At the same time, we are upskilling and using latest technology to make sure that the Gen Z, we are able to connect to them. That is more important.